My name is Steve Levy. I am a technical sourcing leader at M&T Bank.
Well, I'm Dean Costa. I've been doing this for a long time. I'm currently working at Lockheed Martin. I'm pretty much I'm the guy that everybody runs to when they can't find the information.
So let's talk about a manufacturing engineer for something that's pretty darn topical, somebody who has to oversee the manufacturing of ventilators.
Oh,
What are your
yes, so much fun.
what are your thoughts on that one?
For me, I think the smart thing to do is find all of the companies that do it and start tearing them apart one by one, because that would be the easiest, smartest way to do it. So, as an example, and I'm making this up because I haven't done the research on that specific thing. Let's say ABC Company is a manufacturer of ventilators. Start searching for ABC Company and then start looking at trying to figure out who works at ABC Company and do it and go from there. So as an example, those searches we just did, both the Facebook search, the contact out, and the Zoom, the difference in the search string would be, instead of looking for a specific skill and everything like that, you'd be looking for a specific company. And I can't remember the name. There's one up here, and it escapes me right now. That's a medical device company. I think they do make ventilators. So you'd put the name of the company, and then you put the word engineer, and that's how you'd find them. Now, if they're working at a company that makes ventilators and stuff like that, and that's one of their primary products, odds are almost anybody you get is going to be working on them, and so you can just go attack it that way. But I think you need to find the companies that make them first, and then go from there. Because if you try to just put in the word ventilator and engineer, you might be surprised what you end up getting. Ventilator, it may not be as nice and crisp as what you want.
I think one of the way to approach this is definitely not another way. These are parallel approaches. Finding out, simple list of companies who manufacture ventilators.
Yeah.
You don't have to use any brain busting Boolean for that. The other thing that I do is in parallel, I'll just always look for list of associations for manufacturing, engineering, whatever it might be. The association route is always a good place to start. I did one just now for manufacturing engineers, and Penn State, which I know because I've recruited there, they've got an incredible page of manufacturing engineering associations, and each of those is a nucleation point for jumping into other things like different chapters. If you find out a certain company is located in Akron, Ohio, let's see if that Akron, Ohio area has a chapter for any of these things. And you start, walking yourself down, social engineering yourself into these people. Dean, you're looking at something now.
Yes, I am. I'm looking at a list of the need of ventilators rising, who are the leading manufacturers, meeting the demand, reaching markets. And I'm looking at the list of companies, the top 10 companies making ventilators. That's what I'm looking at. And that got my attention because, this should get to everybody this time because I actually switched it to all panels and attendees. Medtronic, that's the one I was thinking of too. They're up here.
Yep.
So now you know the companies to target. And so what you do is you take that Medtronic. You can do it a lot of different ways. And I'm let's see, I was in contact out. Let's see if I can get back to my contact out string real quick. Let's see what we have.
And after you do that one, I'm going to show another tactic for that.
I'm going to just go ahead and put in the word Medtronic. I'm not even going to worry about a title. And there are 8,140 people that work for Medtronic. So let's put in the word engineer. And this is using the contact out string I put in before. And now I have 1,980 engineers that are working at Medtronic. And that probably means they are, especially right now, touching the ventilators. As a matter of fact, I can almost guarantee you they are. Because like I said, I know the company, and they pretty much stopped everything else but ventilators. And so there's that string in there, and it is going to all panelists. So right there is simple, easy peasy. I mean, once you know the companies to target, and the reason you have to have the company is because nobody's going to say ventilator engineer. That's not a title. they're going to say engineer, electrical engineer, mechanical engineer, manufacturing engineer, something like that, but they're not going to say ventilator engineer. The ventilator is going to be something they work on, not title. But if you know the companies, the odds are pretty good. And like I said, I just put a link in there with the top, what appears to be 10 companies that are currently making ventilators.
Now, let me flip this around another way. I'm also going to go back to sharing the screen. An interesting part of my life was, by the way, I'm sneezing here. This is just allergies, nothing more. I was a patent engineer for several years, and which was a wonderful job of trying to pull the inventions out of engineers and then put them in a form that allowed them to become patented by U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. What I have in this screen is one of my favorite sites is Free Patents Online. And what happened was, I'm going to show you how this works. This is a free site. What I like about this is if you're doing these sort of searches, these are not the types of searches you would ever run on LinkedIn, because these are highly technical. You really need to know the details of the job. And the cool thing about it is it allows you to export your results in a format that makes sourcing exceptionally easy. For example, Dina mentioned Medtronics as being one of the companies that is associated with ventilators. So what I'm going to do is, and this is very technical, there all the different fields you can search on for patents are detailed below, and there's a strategy behind it. But I'm just going to look for patents that are assigned to Medtronic. It's Medtronic or Medtronics, Dean? Medtronic.
Medtronic.
And so I'm looking for patents that are assigned to Medtronic, and in patent searching, case has to be capitalized. And the abstract of the patent has the word ventilator. And I'm going to look for patents, patent applications. Chronological means the most recent will come first, and I'm just going to click on search. And so here it says this first one here, endobronchial tube apparatus. It's fine, but I do notice that it is Medtronic Exomed out of Jacksonville, but it gives me the name of the actual inventor. So that could be a person I'm going to start doing my searches from as a point, and then go seeing all the people who are connected to them. They may be a mechanical engineer. They may be a manufacturing engineer. We don't know until we start looking. And so the nice thing is that you look at some other ones. I mean, this seems to be what they're doing a lot down there. This is a patent application because it says it begins with US, heart-lung preparation method and use. And it's a whole slew of inventors. And, the nice thing about going a route like this, where you have so much detailed, juicy information, is when you do engage them, you can engage them with, I read your patent application on heart-lung preparation method of use, and, say something technical and fun and, nice to them, and they will respond to you, because no one reads these things. Hi, Jeremy. And,
no, that was Bettina. That was my wife.
So these are just other things you can do. And similarly, one other thing, interesting thing about once you get hold of somebody in there, often a company like a manufacturing company will have their name listed at the sites of the companies that provide the manufacturing equipment. So often a way to flip things around, if you know that there are metal forming machines, whatever equipment is used in the manufacturing process, and you can identify what company is the provider of that equipment to another company, you can then contact the salespeople of those manufacturing equipment, the support engineers, and they'll tell you who the people are at the company that they interact themselves with. Dean?
Yeah, I have a couple of things here.
Cool.
So I'll share my screen. what I'm doing is typing something else in too, because I just had an idea. It's one of the things I like about doing it this way is that we get to do this off the top of our head. So for us, this is a lot more interesting than knowing in advance what we're going to talk about and just going through it. So let's do a few things here. The first thing I want to do is look at a site called All People. This is a site I found a while back, and I've been playing with it to decide just what I can do with it. And what I decided to do is X-ray. I'm very big on X-ray because I think X-ray gives you insights that normal searching doesn't. So I did Medtronic. I'm picking on the one company I know that does ventilators. There's, like I said, I sent a list in there. I had 10. There's more than that, I'm sure, but those are the top 10. And look what I got. I got 5,590, but look at them. They're all people working at Medtronic in different locations, Minneapolis, Seattle, wherever. And everything you need to find them are sitting in there. If you open one up, give it a minute, you got their name, you got their principal IC engineer, you got a phone number, which is probably work, and there's what appears to be a work email as well, and that's okay because and it starts with a J, so we know it's probably J Cullen or James Cullen or James Cullen. It's one of the three. And this is free, by the way. I'm not paying for any of this. This is the part where I have to show I'm a robot. I'm not a robot, or I am a robot, whatever, depending on your point of view on me. And there, okay, James.Cullen, and there's his email. Now you have their name, their title, where they live, and an email address. Finding the rest of the info is a piece of cake. And so that's one thing. The other thing is there's a site out there called Bear's Official Store. I did not name it, but I just did a search on Medtronic, and I got all this information about Medtronic. But down here, I also got a list of all their employees, all of them. And ZapInfo has already mapped it. I had them map it about 6 months ago to where you can get the entire list, all 134 pages full of Medtronic's employees. Mm-hmm. And it will find contact info, it will cross-reference them, find social sites, it'll do all that. The other thing I decided to look at is something very interesting. Medical device contractors. So any big company or corporation or industry, you have the people that actually do it. Like Boeing, they do the planes. But there's always subcontractors, or what I call feeders. Basically what that means is they live off the work that Boeing gives them because Boeing needs help doing it. Well, a medical device contracting company would be a contracting company in some cases that are basically doing the same thing. They are taking, like, Medtronic may not have the ability or the time or the manpower to do a specific part of the ventilator, so they'll outsource it. And so these are companies to target as well, because if these companies are being outsourced, then that means that are getting stuff outsourced, and that means they're probably working on ventilators, especially if that outsourcing is coming from a company that makes ventilators. The other thing to keep in mind is you have a list right here, like this company here, medical device manufacturing. Well, if they're medical device manufacturing, there's ventilators may be something that they're touching, especially now. There are a lot of medical device manufacturing companies right now that have, if they already did ventilators, they upped what they were doing. If they never did ventilators, they've started doing ventilators to help out because of what's going on in the US. So now more than ever is the time to actually be looking. So this is another thing you can do, is just look for the different contracting companies and start going at them one by one until you get as many people as you need for ventilators. I mean, these are all simple, and I say simple, but these are all easy tricks and tips and techniques that you can use that can help you find what you're looking for. But they're not the things where it's like, okay, I put in 2 words, I get a big list. This is not LinkedIn. But let me tell you a little secret. I can't speak for everybody out there, but I have a lot of hiring managers that are tired of seeing people on LinkedIn, because guess what? Everybody else is seeing them too.
Yeah. Let me share one other thing. I put 2 strings in, which these can be used really for anything and any type of position. This is the I call this is the broad site search of the EDU domain and the org domain. In this case, I'm simply searching for sites that have the ORG extension, typically not-for-profits, associations, societies, whatnot. And the real simple stuff, I'm a simple person. I mean, I can write really complex stuff, but sometimes the reason why I like broader searches is invariably something comes up inside the first 10 to 20 that makes me think, I want to go down that rabbit hole. So these are two. And so these are two searches, site colon manufacturing engineer or ventilator. And I see something like the ventilator project. I see competition announced to design ventilators. Of course, occasionally we see apply to work here. It tells you here, the inventors at Prisma Health, Dorothea Shadle, manufacturing engineer at this place. These give you really good insights. Another thing is, in places like this, sometimes universities are good, nucleation points for these things. If I just change it to EDU, I get other things. Answering the call, engineering alum races from Utah, 2 students engaged. Oregon employs Thomas Keyser, manufacturing engineer, or something or other. On and on and on. These are transferable to any area that you're working on. Dean, let me stop to share here.
Yeah, I'm going to be. First, I have to learn how to spell and see if this will even work. Am I still misspelling it? What I'm doing for those that want to
Ventilator is
know,
1 L.
yeah, that's not my problem. Ventilator. My problem is heading. For some reason, the T is not coming in. VENT. Ventilator. There we go.
Maybe
Let's
you
try
need
it
to buy
again.
another computer, Dean.
No, it ain't the computer. It's operator headspace. Trust me.
I trust you.
I get them. So I'm in a place called ITripleE Explore, which is a fancy way of saying here's an easy way to explore the ITripleE. And I just typed in the word ventilator. There are 491 results of people in ITripleE. And let's remember, ITripleE is engineering, the International something something engineering. I don't even remember what the whole thing stands for. But there are 491 things here, papers in here about ventilators and creation of ventilators, design, modeling, prototyping, closed loop control of mechanical ventilator for newborn babies. Let's go into that one. That one looks good. And if you come in here, what you're going to notice is you're going to get all this information about, but look at the authors. Well, they're not all from the US. These 2 aren't, but let's see, there's only 2 authors, so that's that. But you get to know their title, you get to know where they're working and everything. And in some cases, while this particular one isn't going to be pertinent because they're in Turkey, there's going to be people in here in the US that have written papers on the IEEE site relevant to ventilators. So let's use a little logic. If they're on IEEE, they're an engineer of some kind. If they're talking about ventilators, they've probably worked on it because it's kind of stupid. It's kind of hard to write a paper on something you've never done anything on. And there you go. And what you take from it, don't just take their name and that person, take what company they work for or what organization they work for, because odds are there's more of them. And so this is a simple and easy way to get people. I'd be willing to bet you some of these people, there's 6 authors, some of these people are in the US. Maybe not, because it's sometimes hard to know, but you can get all the information you need on it and just start finding them. In this case, this was in 2009. They were not in the US. I was looking at the name thinking they're all in the UK, which is still okay. But my point is, there's 491 of them. There's going to be some in the U.S. I remember doing a search like this, and the first 2 pages were outside the U.S. And then all of a sudden, I started finding people that are in the U.S. And then there are also conferences that you can search under. There's so much you can do in the IEEE space.
Dean, go back 1 page. Alan Fleur had a question. It's a good question. It's if you how to get to many of those results were locked. Can you show folks how to actually get to some of the locked?
You mean the IEEE?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't notice they were locked, to be honest with you. So let's see. Okay, so like this one says it's locked. Basically, all you do is get into it. It's only locked till you open it up, and you can only see limited results. But here's the thing: all the authors are there, and they're all right here. You don't really care about what it says. Who gives a flip? All you care about is the authors, because that's the people that are going to know. So yes, to read it all is locked. Sign in to continue reading, but to actually just see the authors, which is all you care about. In this case, you wouldn't care because they're in Thailand. You just go to the bottom, and they're listed there. And everything. Plus, if I'm not mistaken, once you sign in and it's free,
Yes, it is.
You can get access to all this. The other thing to keep in mind, stuff like IEEE and some of these organization stuff that we've shown you, there are some tools out there, although not free, that have already done all this for you. Patents, white papers, IEEE, and all that. There's a tool out there called SeekOut that's already created a database with all of this for you, easy to use. And there are other tools I have as well. That's just the one off the top of my head. So keep that in mind. But yeah, they're right here. I mean, locked or not, they are going to show you the authors. And that's because most people won't, most people when they go to IEEE to go reading, a lot of it's based on the author. Okay, does this author really have anything that tells me I should listen to him? Well, in this case, this person is working at the Institute of Molecular Bioscience. Yeah, he probably does. You're working at bioscience. You probably know what you're talking about. That's not
But the
exactly.
nice thing is, once you get, latch onto something that is good, then you can start expanding that in so many different ways. And, the thing that Dean and I do and other, experienced sourcers do is we don't limit ourselves in our thinking by just what we can see. We're continuously going outside and, sometimes going down rabbit holes, playing with different search strings, playing with different phrases. And, eventually you build up an intuition to this. And, it can be trained. But why don't we do this one? Because if I'm thinking of the
So
time.
just as an FYI, real quick, I just did an X-ray into the IEEE site itself for the word ventilator and got 6,510 results. So
And
these
actually,
people are sitting there.
and the thing, based on what Dean said just earlier, I just modified the simple site search to the point where it was, I'm going to put it into the chat here. And this just gave me, since much of this area is coming from academia, where there's strong academia focus, site edu and then clinical and ventilator, I'm forcing them to pull up searches that have those terms in there. There is just so much that came up here. Links in documents, it's entirely possible that when you see, instructions on how to use a system or, documentation, it'll list people in there. Eventually you'll develop a nose for these types of things. Why don't we go to Q&A? I mean, there are some Q&A.
Yeah, let's do that.
Folks in I know some, if there are certain positions you'd like us to quickly talk about, pop them in the Q&A and we'll get to them. What's the first one? From Martha Damerel, a sales director from commercial software industry. I know we're smiling. That's actually, it's a relatively easy one. And I think the thing to do that is, quite frankly, if there's a certain sector that you're using, there are two ways to do this. You can talk to people who already have that software and ask them who their account rep is. I mean, I do that every day at M&T Bank. We're doing building an Appian Center of Excellence. I asked who our sales director was, or our account rep was, and bam, I'm getting access to other companies.
Hey,
Dean?
let me show something real quick. This is literally brand new, as in literally just 2 days ago. And so I'm going to come into this particular site right here, which just came up, and it's called org.domain.
Mm.
And the reason I'm coming in here is because is it this one? Oh, no, that's not the right one. That's a different one. So hang on a minute. Let me find the right one. Chart Loop. That's the one I want.
Chart Loop. Yeah, we both got. Yeah, that was a good one.
So here's one I just did. I just did this one here for Bejo Seeds. That's a seed company. They make seeds. You plant in the ground, you grow something. And I looked for sales. That's the department I wanted. And look what I got. I got the National Sales Marketing Director. I've got the Indiana, Pennsylvania, New York, and Arizona Sales Marketing Development Managers. Basically, that's their whole region. That's their region. So I've got all their salespeople sitting here, and the tool did the charting for it. All you got to do is add a company and put in their URL. In this case, we'll say Boeing.com. I hate the word saying Boeing. And then you pick what you want: human resources, finance, sales, or information technology. In this case, you want sales. And so you do sales, and then you give it some time. It can take a few minutes because it's got a lot of data to put it all together, and it'll put together a nice little org chart for you of the people that are doing it. It won't be 100%, but it'll be the top people usually. So if we're looking for software, and I don't know what kind we're looking for, I thought I saw Salesforce. So let's see if what's
Well,
sales.
let's just pick one of the easy ones. Let's pick Oracle, for example,
Well, I think I can do Salesforce because I
or
remember
Salesforce
seeing.
also.
Yeah, I saw Salesforce. So let's go see their Salesforce, and we want sales, so we'll do sales and we'll create. Now this can take a little time.
Yeah, for me,
Um,
Dean, when I did it for a couple of companies last week, it took about 10 minutes to run it.
Yeah, it can take some time because there's a lot of data that they're going through trying to get what you want. But wow, that was quick. But there's your direct. It's building your directory right now. You see how big it is? And if I enlarge it and 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 keep going.
Which means, yeah, this means somebody must have done it already. And
Yeah,
quite frankly, what this is doing is it's actually taking publicly available LinkedIn information and creating possible org charts from that.
yeah. Look at this. So right there. So let's go with directors right there. National Director of Sales, Account Partner, which is all sales orientated position. Look at this. They're all sitting there. All of them. Just everybody.
Yeah.
I
So if
mean,
people
quick
want,
and easy.
yeah, people want, we can send you, emails to get in there, invites. And the more invites you send out, more people you invite to it and use, the more credits you get.
Yeah. And now I don't know, like I said, I don't know for a fact what positions we're, what position, what company you're targeting. I'm just guessing Salesforce because I remembered Salesforce. Was that at Salesforce? I remember here seeing that somewhere. But the contact out technique we showed you would work. I'm getting salespeople that work at Salesforce. I mean, this is not, it's not as hard as people, some of the positions I think people think are really hard. It's not so much that they're really hard. It's just because they get them and they look at them and they automatically panic without taking a breath and thinking just for a second. The methodology, the process is always the same. You get something, do your research, do a little sourcing, as you're sourcing, if you're doing it the right way, you're refining your research, and you're going to find what you want. Everything can be found. It's just a matter of what techniques you want to use. But methodology is always going to be the same: research, source, refine, research. Then you find what you want and you download them, enhance them, and you start doing your outreach. It's really kind of simple. And the more you do it, and as you do it more and more, the thought process for doing it becomes quicker because you just kind of know. Like I just kind of knew that I could go to the way I just showed you guys with this one org thing and I could find it. I just knew I could go to Contact Out and find these people because I've done it so often that I know that it will work. The other thing to consider, if you have a software company you're targeting, or if it's just a company ever and they specialize in a type of software, like say financial, there are conferences for financial software salespeople. There are conferences out there. You can get the entire list of who attended. And if you can't get the list who attended because you can't find it, every conference has a Twitter handle or Facebook handle, and almost everybody that goes there, whether they know it or not, gets signed into it. They may not ever use it. They may never type anything or tweet or whatever, but they're on there, and you can just grab the entire list from Facebook or from Twitter and go from there. I mean, it can be done. So I hope that answered that question. So next.
Next one is we answered the how do you know where they're dual license in different states? You have to go look at each state and look at the licensing there.
Yeah, there's no way to cross-reference them all at once.
Nothing.
Unfortunately, the states don't play nice with each other.
Dean, you mentioned looking at similar companies, and that reminded me of pushleads.co.uk.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why that stopped working. That was a while back.
Yeah, I can tell you why, but that's something for off camera.
Yeah. Neil Weissman said, can you expand on the LinkedIn comment? You saying our recruiters souring on LinkedIn?
Well, let me help you. So let's start. Let me do this one because you know how LinkedIn is one of my pet peeves. So LinkedIn, let's play the game. First of all, they say they have 610 million people. I can tell you for a fact that is incorrect. And the reason I can tell you for that is I know somebody that has 13 LinkedIn profiles. Each one counts as one. So obviously they don't have 610 million. I also know at least 150 people who are deceased who are still on there, and that's just for starters. So they've got about 425 million people. Well, here's the reality: is number one, It's expensive. Number two, no matter how hard you try, you can never see everybody that's on there. It's mathematically impossible because they limit you to 1,000 results, and there's no way you're going to be able to see everybody. So you got both of them. But here's the thing: if they've got 425 million, and I'll even give them the benefit of the doubt, even though I know it's wrong, I just proved it's wrong, and say 610 million, Facebook got 3.5 billion. And here's the other problem is, despite what they tell you, when you do a search in LinkedIn, the search results come back in order of which ones have the most words that you're looking for in their profile. So that means everybody's seeing the same people over and over and over and over and over again. And hiring managers get tired of seeing the same people over and over and over again. 95% of the people on LinkedIn don't check their in-mails but once a quarter. So how in the blue blazes are you really getting? And they're getting inundated. I get inundated probably 50 to 75 times a day with people who found my profile on LinkedIn and contact me. Well, you know what? After a while, and I'm not looking, after a while that gets old. And so the question you need to ask yourself is, do you want to continue to compete with everybody for the same people that everybody has seen a gazillion times, hope they're real, hope they're alive? Or do you want to go out there and start finding people that are not on LinkedIn? Because there's a lot of people that are not on LinkedIn. There are a lot of people that leave LinkedIn and don't come back. There's a reason why there's only 65 million people on GitHub, but yet only about 70% of them have a LinkedIn profile. The rest do not. And
Dean,
that number is growing.
unshare the screen.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know I was still sharing. My bad.
Yeah, but let's look at some other
5 minutes,
ones.
guys.
Yeah,
5
so,
minutes left.
you know, Connie, hi, Connie. CNAs, LPNs, or other caregivers are similar to what we did earlier with nurses.
Yep.
You know, we can, you know, all of you are free to contact us and ask us questions going forward. Alan, that's it. Other people, are there any other positions that we might have missed that you want to, you have a few more minutes that you'd like to talk about? David Suter, yeah, can you scrape Google Sheets? Sort of, yeah.
Why would you scrape Google Sheets? It's a
Well, you really
Excel
know to.
spreadsheet. You just download it.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. You can easily just do a site search on Google and get Google Sheets that pertain to anything you can imagine. And
Yeah, but in most cases, if they're out there available and they're in public, you can just go ahead and
Yeah.
save them to your own Google Sheets and then download it to Excel. I mean, I'm not sure I understand why you need to scrape it. I mean, it can be scraped. Obviously, it's not hard. I've done it before,
No,
but I'm not
I
sure
know,
why.
I know, David. He's
Oh, I'm not putting David down. I'm just
no,
struggling.
no.
I don't think I'm not. Yeah, well, he puts LOL, so obviously he knows. I mean, copy and paste. Sorry, my new. Oh, okay, copy and paste.
Believe me, Dave, you're going to get better. One thing I do want to share one final thing, a comment about LinkedIn and why we're kind of sour on it. This is just an interesting search. Let me just, I'm doing a search on LinkedIn. Let's go pick you're going to like this one, actually. Let's do basic one. Let's do simple. I'm going to look for engineers profiles that are of engineers or accountants and have the words dead or deceased or retired or passed away or retirement. And this is the people who actually take the time to do this stuff. I mean, 375 million, 375,000. I can only imagine how many you just start adding title after title after title. Of course, retirement may not be the rest one. It adds up. There are a lot of people who are no longer on there. The interesting thing is one of the things that we're trying to fix with Seek Out, and Dean knows this, is if you do a search, you see a person may come up and their last working date might be 2008. Are they still alive? Are they still in the workforce? What happened? There's so much of that here. There are so many people on LinkedIn who just have never updated their information. They don't go on. And I think the important thing to remember about LinkedIn, and this is data from LinkedIn, is the average amount of time spent on LinkedIn a month by the total aggregate of users is 17 minutes. Do you really want to put all your eggs into 17 minutes a month basket?
I'll put it to you another way. I go on LinkedIn for two reasons. One, to check my emails, because I do like to keep up on them. 2, because somebody else put a bunch of people in a folder in LinkedIn Recruiter and I need to scrape it out and find contact info. And that scraping out process is not something I even monitor. I start it on one computer and I come back when it's done, download it. I don't even pay attention because I don't need to. I don't go through LinkedIn for much of anything. And the reason is the data and the data is not up to date in a lot of cases. I know several people who I've contacted who say, yeah, I actually always ask, are you on Facebook, LinkedIn, or whatever? And they say, yeah, I got a LinkedIn profile. I haven't updated it in like 4 years. So it's like, oh, great. Um, the other reason why I'm not a big LinkedIn fan is because you're subject to emails or using a secondary tool to find their contact info. Let me see if I can find this. Oh, it's right there.
Let's do this,
And
Dean.
I'm going to share this real quick. Vent. I'm going to pick on Ventilator, but I'm going to be smarter than the equipment I'm working with, and I'm going to do that. Okay, so I just looked for people that have something to do with ventilators. Yeah, this will work right here. Thank you. I misspelled something. Yay me. And there's 1,290 of them, but here's the difference. I got their Gmail email addresses. I don't need to look at LinkedIn. I'm not signed into LinkedIn, and yet I still have access to all their people. And guess what? For those of you wondering, well, yeah, but what if they made it private? Guess what? When you open your LinkedIn account, the default is public. You make it private. And if it was public, that means a little tool called the Wayback Machine has already indexed them, and you can still find them.
And that, Dean, might be something we do another day.
Yep.
So for everyone here, this was just the first time we did this. We're working out some bugs. As you can tell, both Dean and I have a oral diarrhea problem from time to time. We can fix that in subsequent shows. What we'd like to do is we'll be back in 2 weeks. Give us your positions, Stacy.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We're going to be doing this every Tuesday, 9 a.m. Pacific time. And so if you have positions you want Dean and Steve to specifically source for you, send them to me at stacybroadwell@techrecruit.io. And if you want to get involved, you want to source too, and you have the acumen to do it, give me a shout, and we'd love to have you on the show. And that, we'll see you guys next Tuesday. Everybody have a great week. Bye.
Bye.